Story 1. The Face in the Window. It was the kind of night that made the world feel hollow, streets deserted, lights flickering. Emma had just moved into her new apartment, a small, quiet building at the edge of town. She unpacked her boxes, each creak of the floorboards echoing louder than it should. The shadows in the corners stretching unnaturally as the lightning flashed. Hours later, as she sipped her tea and watched the rain pour down the window, she noticed something strange. A face, pressed against the window across the hall. Pale, distorted, hollow-eyed, staring right at her. Her fingers froze around the mug. Her pulse thundered in her ears. She blinked, and it was gone. Must be her imagination, she told herself, trying to laugh it off, but the unease in her chest wouldn't fade. Then a soft knock on her door, slow, hesitant. "Hello?" she called out, her voice shaking. No answer, only the whisper again. "I see you." Emma backed away, fumbling for her phone, only to find the screen dead. No signal, no battery. The room seemed colder, darker, as if the shadows themselves were watching. The knocking grew louder, echoing unnaturally through the empty hall. She crept to the peephole. Nothing. Then, a scraping sound at the window. She turned slowly. The face was inside her apartment now, pressed against the bedroom window, its grin wide, unnatural, teeth jagged, its hollow eyes staring into hers, cold and empty. Emma ran, slamming and locking the door, throwing her weight against it. She could hear it moving, circling, whispering, laughing. The lights flickered and went out. Her apartment became a cocoon of darkness, broken only by the dim lightning flashes, revealing fleeting glimpses of the figure standing closer every time her eyes adjusted. Morning came. The police found the apartment empty, windows shattered from the inside, and in the living room, written in condensation on the cold glass, a message, "I've been inside all along." Story 2. The Reflection. Tom had always been fascinated by antiques, particularly mirrors. When he found a tall, ornate mirror at a curio shop, he didn't hesitate. The mirror's frame is carved with strange symbols, dark and twisted vines curling around its edges. At home, he noticed something odd. His reflection lagged slightly behind him. Sometimes it smiled when he didn't. At first, he laughed it off. But then the reflection began doing things he hadn't, tilting its head, stepping closer, mouthing silent words. One night, Tom woke to darkness. The mirror stood in the corner, empty, but he could hear breathing, heavy, slow, coming from behind him. He turned. No one. Yet the room felt wrong. The mirror slowly reflected not him, but the empty room behind him, with a shadow in the corner. The next night, the shadow moved, approaching him. The reflection's eyes, black voids, stared back at him. Then it smiled, slowly, maliciously. Tom tried to leave the apartment, but the door wouldn't budge. The mirror's shadow stretched across the floor, creeping closer. By morning, neighbors heard screaming. Tom was gone. The mirror remained, reflecting only the room, and sometimes a faint, twisted smile where no one should be. Story 3. The Elevator. Lila worked late nights at a corporate tower, always alone after midnight. The elevator was her only companion, its metallic walls cold and lifeless. One night, the elevator stopped on the 13th floor. No buttons pressed. The doors opened to darkness. A whisper. "Come in." She hesitated, heart hammering. Step by step, she walked in. The doors closed. The floor display flashed wildly. 13, 66, 999. Each number slower than the last, like counting her final breaths. Shadows twisted along the walls, circling, watching. She tried the buttons, nothing. Then she saw them, dozens of doors inside the elevator stretching endlessly. Behind one, a flicker of movement. Her own voice, screaming. She backed away. Doors began opening on their own, revealing empty halls that smelled of rot and decay. Lila ran, but each door she passed whispered her name. At last, the elevator doors opened to the lobby, only to reveal a different building entirely, desolate and broken. Her reflection in the elevator mirrored a terrified stranger she had never met. Story 4. The Forgotten Child. Decades ago, a child vanished from the old orphanage at the edge of town. Alex, a thrill-seeker, explored it one stormy night, hoping for a scare. The building smelled of dust and mildew, the broken windows letting the wind howl through the corridors. He heard faint crying. Following it, he reached a locked nursery. The door opened by itself. Inside, an empty crib. Toys on the floor began shifting, forming shapes, circles, letters, pointing him. Suddenly, a tiny hand clutched his ankle. He looked down, nothing. Just shadow, a small figure whispering, "Stay forever." Alex ran, stumbling through corridors that seemed to stretch endlessly. Doors slammed behind him, shadows chasing him until he burst outside. Locals say the orphanage still whispers at night, calling out to anyone who dares enter. Story 5. The Last Call. Jenna worked the graveyard shift at a small call center. At 3:13 a.m., a call came from an unknown number, static. Then a voice, "I'm inside your house." She panicked, checked locks, nothing. The call repeated. Each time the voice seemed closer, in the kitchen behind her desk, whispering in her ear. She hung up. The lights flickered. The office door creaked. She turned. A pale figure stood there, phone in hand, grinning. Jenna ran, but every exit led to another hallway, always back to the figure. It whispered her name, soft and chilling. "You shouldn't have answered." Morning came. No trace of her. Only the phone remained, screen glowing with her last call, unanswered.